So for this one, you're going to get the disembodied voice. Anyway, the simulation is about pulling together everything you've learned in this class. This is presented to you by Harvard Business School. And what it comes down to is, in a project, you have certain knobs that you can turn, meaning things you can change, like scope, resources, schedule. And you also have to think about your team, their skill level, their morale, the deadlines, how work quality affects decision making. Recently, a bunch of entrepreneurial CEOs have said, forget about work-life balance. If you want to do a startup, you just can't have any. And Cuban said it, Reid Hoffman, who founded LinkedIn, said it, and of course, so did Musk. Anyway, how do we deal with uncertainty? Through prototyping or iterative processes, and how do we set realistic goals? You have 3 scenarios. Which require for this is to do at least 2. You do 2 once, and then you pick one and try to get your maximum score. So what you're graded against is, first, did I do 2, whether it's A, F, or G? And then the one I choose to pick, what's the highest score I can get? In general, people who score 700 or better have gotten an A. High 600s sometimes results in an A. It all depends on what class average is. So you're going to be pretty much graded against how your peers do. And so there are different levels of what you want to go after. In terms of scenarios, there's scope, there's schedule, and there's cost. And so it gives you goals and how many points you can earn for meeting each of these goals. Now, the project scope has got 4 levels, and they have different numbers of tasks. So those tasks are associated with how many different things you want to do, and they're all related to printers. The project schedule is given to you by senior management, at least what the goals of that schedule are. And so you have to figure out how much time you want to spend in any particular week. The resources, how many people you want to staff, what their expertise and everything else is. You make ongoing decisions about your team, meaning overtime, how many meetings do you have, how many coaching, and also how much discussion do you want to have with it. Prototypes is experiments. How many do you want to go through? And they're not rough and they're not fully functional. And it creates extra work to create them. However, prototypes will indicate which directions you should go into. So you have to figure out how many of those you want. And design efforts are measured in tasks. And so how many of those you get done determines how much progress you make. In terms of scoring, you get scored in 3 different areas: scope, schedule, and resources. Now, if you get frustrated because I'm not doing very well in either, what it comes down to is nobody has hit all 3. No one. And that's actually true for most project management. Most people don't hit all 3. So you're going to have to trade off against something. What it comes down to, though, is how many points you can establish. Now, simulation play is fairly straightforward. What you do is when you click play now, you see a decision section. Now, keep something in mind. I give you 20 attempts. I don't think you have enough time to get through all 20. So it's pretty much how many number of times you want to go through it. Then you're okay. I have lots of students who come to me and say, they're frustrated and they can't get their score up. And then the very next time they do it, they do. And what this is about is experimentation. And figuring out, okay, if I do this, this happens. If I do that, that happens. And that's why you get 20 iterations. But as you can see, you can pick your team size, their skill level. Do you want to outsource anything? And there's an associated cost with all of those. Project completion. How many meetings do I want to have with my people? And these are things that I can change at any time. And how many prototypes do I want to build? And when am I going to end my project? And so those are the knobs that you have to turn. And so when you're satisfied with it, decide how many weeks and then advance the simulation by clicking on submit. After you prepare a project, what'll happen is it'll give you some feedback data. It'll tell you how your team's doing, how much time you're spending on activities. And so the dashboard provides you with a snapshot and a summary of what's been happening from previous moves that you make. Now, there's also an Analyze tab, and that'll tell you exactly what's going on. And so it gives you the data regarding your composition and everything else, your team process of how things are doing, and how management is actually looking at your progress. And so after analyzing the results, you could go back to the decision sections to make any necessary changes in the project parameters before advancing further. And the simulation continues until the product team has either completed the necessary number of tasks or the schedule reaches week 25, which is your limitation. You could decide to end the project prematurely, meaning I don't think I'm going to get there from here. But by doing so, there could be a performance penalty for doing that. Again, I've given you 20 iterations to do this. So if you want to play again, then hit the play scenario button again. And if there's more than one scenario, you can see the next one by hitting the view upcoming button. So good luck on managing your projects.